you gave me the stars, put them out of my reach.
When I was a kid, I have 3 siblings, so the 4 of us, my mom would drag us to church every Sunday, and we didn't like it. We didn't want to be there. We didn't know about youth group. She would just take us in the big service and put us down in these pews, and to us there was a guy behind a box yelling at us. So we just didn't like it, and my dad never went. He always slept in, and one Sunday after church, this guy taps me on the shoulder. It's a really small church, and the guy asked me if I'd like to go to a camp that summer. And I kind of looked at my mom, and evidently she knew him. And I said, well, what kind of camp? And he kind of alluded to the fact that it was a basketball camp. So I ended up going to the camp with a few friends. We loaded up this van a few months later that summer, and it wasn't actually a basketball camp. As a matter of fact, there was a lot of preaching, but we did get to play some basketball. But it was fun. We had a good time. But what I really took away from that camp was each night in our cabin, it would be 4 guys and myself and a youth pastor. I didn't know he was a youth pastor, but I guess he had just volunteered recently at that church. And we would sit down on the floor of that cabin, and he would just open up the Bible. And, I knew what the Bible was. I'd never really read it. I'd heard about it. I'd heard maybe certain scriptures. But suddenly, in those nights, after all the festivities were over, just sitting on that floor with that guy, he would open up the Word, and it came to life for me. God just used that time to start just knocking on my heart's door. And I don't know why it was any different other than just something special happened. And it was the Friday night. We'd just gotten up off sitting on the floor and reading together. And this guy also would share with us, by the way, about, things he had been through. The hard things he had been through in life. Anyway, we got up off the floor on Friday night, and my heart was pounding out of my chest because I wanted to react. I wanted to do something about this feeling I had inside. I just got in my sleeping bag as quickly as I could, and I remember just zipping it all the way to the top. And I just laid there for like 20 minutes till I couldn't take it anymore. My heart was pounding. I needed God. So I unzipped the sleeping bag, and I walked in the other room, and I woke up that youth pastor, and I said, hey man, I got to do something about what I feel inside. He said, what do you mean? I said, I want to meet this Jesus you've been telling us about. And he said, would you like to pray? And I said, yes. And I'll never forget it. I remember the bedspread that I put my elbows on, the wooden floor that my knees went down to, and we just sat there, or just got on our knees, and he led me in a prayer, and I asked Jesus to be my Lord. And it changed everything for me. A couple great things beyond that came out of it. I remember when I got up, I walked into the other room, and I was like right on the bubble. Should I wake all my boys up and tell them what just happened, or should I just get back in my bed? I chose to get back in my bed, or in my sleeping bag. And 2 other guys that night actually asked Christ into their life in that cabin. And then the beautiful part of the story beyond all that is I went home and started inviting my dad to church. And my dad at the time, he was a realtor in the D.C. area where I grew up, but he also owned part of a bar. He was a little bit of a wild child. And I just kept inviting my dad to church. My mom would ask me to go down and ask my dad every Sunday morning, and I would remember walking down the hall to wake up my dad, kind of scared. I don't know why I was scared. My dad was a good dude, but it was just scary to wake your dad up and say, will you come to church? He had told me no so many times. But a few months later, my dad said yes. And he went to church, and he actually, it was maybe 3 months after me, asked Jesus into his life. And it changed our family forever. And I'm thankful.
that you gave me the stars.